Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm really excited to bring you a makeup tag video. This is the most likely to tag, and this was started by Christina Brooke. Now I know I first saw Helene from Makeup and Alejandra Lisette do this video first, and I actually found Christina Brooke's channel through them, and she seems really sweet. So I will definitely link all the information about her below, and I'll link Helene and Alejandra's videos as well. But let me tell you, this tag is absolutely adorable, and I thought all the prompts were really fun. So there's a bunch of different like most likely to blah 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 tags and kind of like superlatives in high school, and we're gonna talk about makeup that fits those descriptions. So why don't we go ahead and get into it. So the first prompt is most likely to look amazing after a long day. Now immediately my brain I wanted to go to eyeshadow or something like that, but honestly I don't really have a ton of like issues keeping my eyeshadow on for a long day. But I did kind of think about foundation first. And the one that I'm always probably gonna reach for on a long day is this Tarte Hybrid Gel Foundation. Now it is full coverage. It is a little bit more dry on my skin than like I typically find comfortable, most like for every day at least. But on days where I know I'm gonna be on camera, it looks really good on camera, or days that I know I'm gonna be out and about and I want my makeup to look good, this is one that warms up on my skin better than it initially applies. I know initially sometimes when I can put it on, I almost think it looks a little too dry, but as the day goes on, this is one that tends to look better on my skin the more it kind of warms up. And sadly, I don't think they make this foundation anymore, which is a real shame because other than like the bulky packaging, I think this foundation is really, really nice. And since I can't recommend something in this category that you can run out and buy, I do want to kind of mention the unsung hero in this category, or this most likely to tag, is I think powder. For me, if I want my face to like last and stay on as long as possible, for me, powder is where it's at. I have an oily T-zone, and without powder, I'm gonna lose foundation right here on my nose most of all. So this guy here is the unsung hero. Why am I having such a hard time saying that? For me, and Fit Me Loose powder is really good, and I also love Coty Airspun. Those are my two like favorite. These are the ones that I've finished off multiple of these like containers of. So for me, something like powder is the unsung hero of the like most likely to look amazing all day. Okay, I need to remember to not be too wordy, so I'm gonna try to go through the other prompts quicker. The next one is most likely to wear on Halloween. And for me, that was a no-brainer. I knew immediately which palette I was gonna pull out. And this is my Subculture Palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I just think that this is just the quintessential fall palette. And I love these. I love the greens. I love kind of like the deep purple and like turquoisey blue kind of, or not turquoise, it's like a teal blue. I just think this is so fun. It's got a really nice bronze shade in it, and I love this electric shade. I just love this palette. It is like so inspiring to me, and I've created some really awesome Halloween looks with this palette already, so to me this was like a no-brainer. I knew exactly what I was gonna pull. So the third prompt is most likely to land me a job in like a lucky kind of way, and honestly I do not know. I don't know what my lucky palette is or lucky item is, so I'm just gonna go with like the literal translation of most likely to land me the job, and for me that's my Lorac Pro 3. This is what I wear on like pretty much any job interview I go on because it's just super neutral, easy to wear, a row of mattes, a row of metallics and shimmers, and I just know that whatever I put together from this palette is gonna be soft, yet it's gonna look like intentional and kind of like nice and polished. But I wouldn't also say that it's a lucky palette for me. Maybe that's why I don't have a job here in Sweden. Maybe I need to rethink that, but this is my answer for this tag at least. Okay, the fourth prompt is most likely to wear to bring in the new year, and this one is newer to me, but this one I know I hope to get a chance to wear as we ring in 2021 this coming year. This is my Marc Jacobs iconic palette in the name Electric, and this has some nice like kind of cool tone options here, but this silver here is stunning. Let me give you a swatch. So here's the swatch right here. It's very like metallic and just creamy, and it's so beautiful. I've worn the silver shade once so far and I was in love with it. It didn't really feel like wearing silver a lot in the summer, but I hope that in the fall and especially around the new year I get a chance to wear this a lot more often. Okay, and the next prompt is an item most likely to get decluttered. And for me, I have a couple eyeshadow palettes that I wanted to feature, but they're at home in storage and I don't really, like, I can't really show you a photo of them. But they're old, like old NYX palettes that are like little 6-pan things. I don't really love the quality of those eyeshadows anymore, and now that my collection has expanded so much that I would be happy to let those go. But the ones that I have on me to talk about are these guys here. This is a high shine lip gloss, but I'm kind of generalizing here. For me, I'm just kind of over highly pigmented lip glosses. It's just not my style or preference anymore. So hopefully you can see that it's very like, you kind of have to be careful. If you put too much of this on, it will run outside of your lip lines and that kind of thing. And honestly, I just prefer glosses that don't really have pigment in them. They're more sheer in their base. So these kind of highly pigmented lip glosses are not my preference anymore. And the next chance I get, I will probably do a good declutter of things like this that I don't really see myself panning, and therefore I don't really need to hold on to it anymore. And the next prompt is most likely to get me the guy. And this one, again, was a no-brainer. I knew exactly what Beau would at least like prefer, and that's a red lip. I think that he loves red lip, and this here is probably my favorite red lip in my collection. And I know he's complimented me on it before. This is Matte 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 06 from Essence, and this is the shade name. They have a shade name on here. Kiss Me If You Can. This is like kind of a, not a deep red, but also not like too light of a red. It's a kind of a perfect like tone. And it's also like a true red. It's not too yellow, too orange, or too pink. It's honestly just a nice true red. And I think this lip on me is just, it comes off sophisticated and like classy, and not to mention that matte finish is just kind of, it looks very good. So this one here was kind of the no-brainer for this category. This is the one that I would choose for most likely to land me the guy. Okay, and the next prompt might not be a surprise to any of you, but this is my new favorite for the year so far. And for me, that is my Natasha Denona Gold Palette. I got this for my anniversary just here recently in July, and I love it. I love it. I think it was probably, it was a lot of money. I do want to preface that. But for me, it was at least smart in that I'm gonna wear this, and I'm gonna wear this a ton. This is a smart kind of neutral palette, warm neutrals, and it's just something that's so wearable. Whereas some of the other color stories that Natasha Denona does, I think that they're colors that I like and I appreciate and I find inspiring, but I probably wouldn't wear them often. But this being a gold palette, and gold is a nice neutral for me to wear, it's something that I can wear often, and it's something that I've fallen absolutely head over heels in love with. Okay, the next prompt is a fun one, most likely to get me in trouble. And the first thing that came to mind are, again, colorful lip options, but these here, I kind of went with the liquid lipstick forms. And I have other ones back at home in storage. Specifically, there's one called from Stila called Note, and it's kind of very similar to this shade here, Transylvania from NYX, but it's super vampy, like deep purple, very similar to this. But these lipsticks are so beautiful to me. This is Copenhagen and Transylvania. These were like all the rage years ago when I was getting into makeup. But so let me explain. I love these, but honestly, on my lips, my lips are not anywhere close to even. I have older aging lips, and they have sun damage kind of wrinkles starting to set on the side, so it's a little harder to get to kind of line up and look great. And then when I do, I also like chronically, like I didn't even realize how bad I did this until I started wearing vampy lips, but I chronically accidentally, like, especially during the day, like kind of purse my lips together, and I always wear away lipstick right in the middle of my lips. So unless it's a nude, you're gonna see like that kind of ridiculous like butthole lip on me. So dark lips I love, I really enjoy wearing them, but they're really gonna get me in trouble. So that is why I chose these for this prompt. Okay, next up is most likely to land in a regrets video. And okay, this one might be unpopular because I know Pure is kind of right now having a revival, but for me, that's Pure eyeshadows. I have this palette, and I have a palette from them with it was collaboration with the Grinch. I believe it was like last year or the year before. And I really like their color stories that they put in palettes. Like I find them very interesting, and I want to use them or want to purchase them. There have been like the Festival palette I thought was gorgeous, but I just, every time that I use Pure eyeshadows, these palettes always feel inconsistent to me. They don't feel like palette to palette that they have the same formula, or they're not something that I feel like I can like consistently like trust, because my Grinch palette, the shimmers in it are super nice, and the mattes are kind of similar to this. But in this palette, I absolutely love the color story, and the mattes are pretty decent, but these shimmers are trash. I mean, absolute trash. They're just scratchy and dry, and when you kind of try to lay them on the eye, they just are chalky and like fluff away to nothing. You can't really layer them up. It's heartbreaking because this color story is beautiful, but it makes me very afraid to try pure palettes because I feel like they're just inconsistent, and I hope that that's something that's fixed in the future. But I also kind of wonder how much of it is that they pump these palettes out versus like trusting the quality and like trusting to put effort into the quality of them. I hope I'm making sense, but yeah, this one is most likely to end up in a regrets video. Okay, and the next prompt, most likely to hit pan on, I knew exactly which items I was gonna pick. Colourpop Super Shock Shadows. For me, I have 15 of them, I think, in my collection, 15 or either 17 of them. And out of all of those, I think I have pan on most of them. I think I only have don't have pan on like 3 of them now. This is my most recent victim. This is Birthday Wish from Colourpop, and I just think they're so nice. They're so easy. I'm such a, like, especially day to day, I'm just someone who like likes to use super easy looks, and sometimes it's just as simple as me wanting to throw like my blush in my crease, this on my lid, and like throw some mascara on and move on. And these Colourpop shadows are so easy to use. I love being able to use my fingers with them. I think they offer, especially the ultra glitter formulas, that's my personal favorite. Being able to use something that has a little bit of high shine to it, even though if it's neutral like this, it's just a lot of fun. And I have hit pan on so many of my Colourpop Super Shock shadows. All right, next up is most likely to get me compliments. And this I thought of right off the bat too. This is Stila Wanderlust, my glitter and glow shadow. This is such a gorgeous shade. Let me see if I can find a place to swatch it. I'll swatch it between these 2 lip items. That's it right there. It's super neutral, but it's also kind of got this duochrome factor to it. But this is the most neutral and wearable shade, and I think that every time I've ever worn this, either in person or on camera, people always say that they like my eyeshadow, and so this is one that I couldn't help but throw in here too. All right, the next prompt is most likely to get repurchased, and for me that was a no-brainer. I have to have something with 50 SPF in it. I wear sunscreen always underneath foundation, but I like to be outside and I like to be in the sun. Summer is my favorite time of year. So for me, when I'm gonna be outside all day, I'm gonna layer 50 SPF over my 50 SPF already on my face. So this here is the best thing I found. These like full coverage moisturizers and these CC creams from It Cosmetics, I think give you such good coverage, and they offer like such good like also protection for your face, and they last pretty well on me. So this is my second or third tube of this, and I can't believe I haven't gone through more of them. I found this too late in life. I wish I would have found it way sooner, because maybe it would have saved me years and years of extra sun damage from not taking care of my skin. But yeah, this is one that I will absolutely never ever not have in my collection. Okay, the next prompt is fun. It's most likely to splurge on, and I have a lot here in front of me. So I think it's no secret that if I'm talking luxury brands, I think that the one likely to sucker me in the most is Natasha Denona. You just saw that the gold palette, and the other one is the other one that I own from her is the Lila palette. I also have the mini Lila palette. I really enjoy her little mini palettes. I'm tempted by so many of them, even though I only have one of them. But especially anytime I see Natasha Denona palettes go on sale, I'm always tempted. I have to talk myself out of so many of them because I immediately put them in my cart and go, oh wait, even though it's on sale, do I still want to spend that much money? And usually the answer is like, okay, you don't need to. So I wish I had an infinite bank account, because I would always splurge on Natasha Denona because I think her palettes are very inspiring. But let's talk about a different brand. This is more like high-end, not luxury, but ABH palettes are the same story for me. I love the quality of ABH shades. I love, especially in these like newer palettes, these like super high impact shimmers are just my favorite. This is my favorite ABH palette at the moment. This and the Jackie Hanna palette are kind of fighting for first place right now, but these palettes are such, again, good quality, and I find the color stories in these palettes super inspiring, and I've never been disappointed with my ABH palettes. So anytime they release a new palette, I'm always really tempted by them. And of course, I'm gonna throw in an affordable option too. Colourpop suckers me in. Again, I kind of love guiltily how often they release things, because I just think it's fun. It gets me, again, gets my creative juices flowing. And these two here are probably my 2 favorite Colourpop palettes that I own, but these, the Honey and the Baby Got Peach palette, I really love. I also really am just a sucker. I know I'm like in the minority here, but I really like their pressed glitters. And this like Hungry Ghost shade is my absolute favorite like pressed glitter I've ever used. So I am a sucker for Colourpop releases. I have my eye on a few. Hopefully maybe birthday or Christmas, I'll add a couple more to my collection. But yeah, those are 3 brands that really tempt me when it comes to makeup. Okay, we are finally at the last prompt, and I'm a little nervous to share my answer here, but this prompt is most likely to look terrible after a long day. And let me explain myself fully before you judge me. I picked my Dose of Color Friendcation palette. This is a palette that I absolutely adore. This is the one palette in my collection that does not last well on me. It creases. I don't have that issue with AVH palettes. I don't have that issue with Natasha Denona palettes. I don't have that issue with Colourpop palettes, but for some reason, these shades crease on me. And I don't understand why, because the quality of these shadows is pretty nice. Like I think the mattes are super easy to work with. I love the texture of these glittery like metallic shades. I have no complaints when it comes to this palette. I think that these shades are so special that I'm still super glad that I have this in my collection. I'm super glad that I spent my money on this. It's just that I have to be careful and I have to be strategic about when I wear this palette. If it's gonna be all day, it's probably not gonna look great at the end of the day for me. And that's still being said over glitter glue. I always wear these shades over glitter glue and I still get creasing. I do not understand why. But regardless, they are stunning. I have no regrets in having this palette. I just wish that maybe they wouldn't crease on me at the end of the day. So I'm really curious, before I kind of close this video out, do you have any palette or any item in your collection that you feel the same way about this palette? Do you love it despite it having its faults? Let me know in the comments. And that brings us to the end of this video. Make sure you say hello, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one.